Today's topic is called the debt of sleep. I think it's quite known at this stage that the quality of sleep that we are having as people, especially young people, is been, reducing gradually over the years. There's a lot of statistics to back this up. If you do a little bit of research, you'll see that people are sleeping for less hours and are having more trouble with sleeping. And after all, there's probably a very big reason why the sleep industry, as in mattresses, sleeping medication, etc., is a very big industry. Basically, people are not having as good sleep as they would like, and I believe that's getting worse and worse with every passing year. And in my opinion, a big reason, a big factor in this whole topic and debate about why we're having worse and worse sleep is because we are on things like mobile phones for into the night. We can't switch off. We find it very difficult to relax. And this, in my opinion, is often a side effect of having a poor lifestyle. So if you're eating properly and if you're doing exercise, you're going to be in a more balanced place. If you're, tired at the end of the day because you've been outside doing things, you're going to sleep better. But also if you have the mental discipline to switch off your devices, not to be on your phone for hours scrolling, not to be mentally stimulating yourself in the incorrect way. Now, I've listened to a very interesting talk by Andrew Huberman on this topic regarding sunlight and your circadian rhythm. So the idea is that a way to improve your sleep is to expose your body and your natural body clock to the natural rhythms that you would have had as a human over the last thousands of years. So the idea is very simple. When you wake up in the morning, you look into the out of your window as soon as you wake up, and you take in natural light into your eyes, and this kind of seems to set a marker within your brain for when you wake up, and from that time onwards, your body will start counting down until it's time to go to sleep. So let's say you wake up at 7 o'clock, you look straight out of the window, you get some sunlight into your eyes, and then your body's saying, okay, well, let's say in 15 hours time, 16 hours time, it's time to go to sleep again. Maybe it's a bit less, maybe it's a bit more, depends on what you're used to. Equally, what's meant to be quite useful, according to Huberman, is to then go for a 15-20 minute walk or commute or whatever outdoors where you're exposed to the sunlight properly for about 15 to 20 minutes. So I've been experimenting with this. I've been basically using that formula, getting up, looking straight out the window for a few minutes, and then going outside after having a cold shower, going straight outside for about 15-20 minutes, doing some running, doing some jogging, whatever it is you like to do outside. And this really, in my opinion, has helped me with my sleep, even though I've never had a huge problem with my sleep because I've always been quite disciplined with regards to devices. Now, if I do use an electronic device at night, I do see my sleep deteriorating quite significantly, particularly in the area of falling asleep. So if I'm on my phone for a few minutes, texting someone or whatever, and I keep thinking about that, and someone replies and you text again, and you text and you text and you text, and the hours disappear, I do feel my brain is overstimulated. Now, I don't think this has anything to do with blue light. Blue light is another side effect of using the phone that can disturb your brain from not basically triggering it to not go asleep. I don't think it's blue light in my case because I have a blue light filter on my phone. All the devices I use quite a significantly strong blue light filter. So all my devices are not super orange, but definitely a very warm tinge and color. I recommend you turn on these filters on your devices. It makes, in my opinion anyway, it's a lot less of a strain on the eyes, but also you get that benefit of possibly reducing the effect of the blue light before you want to go to bed or go to sleep. But I would definitely recommend turning that on all devices. So yeah, those are three important things. But equally, it's also about making sure you're actually tired when you go to bed. That you've done something of merit throughout the day that therefore your body feels it's not time to go to bed naturally. I like to think of the idea that we were maybe out hunting or gathering or working out in nature when as humans in the past, and now when you need to do something kind of similar, you need to be either in the gym or going for a short run or cycling, or you've been at work. You need to do something that means you actually deserve to sleep, and therefore it'll be easier. So with those things in mind, I like to take a quick moment to just look at how sleep is getting worse and worse in the average person in the 21st century. And when I consider this, I really do think it's mostly to do with electronic distractions, whether it's gaming consoles, whether it's phones, going onto a social media app and scrolling for hours and hours on the death scroll. It's amazing how many people I see are on the death scroll Death scroll being the idea that you're scrolling, and because it's social media, there's no end. The people who've engineered this software know exactly how to keep you on it. They use psychology to make sure that they know exactly how the human brain operates and how to keep people on the platforms. This is actually a very interesting space. I've heard a few podcasts and documentaries on this about the idea that people at companies will use very specific colors that trigger certain pathways in our brains. So, for example, a notification button might glow red, and red is proven to be the color that is the most impactful on the brain for checking a notification, for releasing dopamine, and for basically establishing a kind of a relationship between the person and the social media platform. At the end of the day, they're trying to make it as addictive as possible, and I don't blame them for this. It's their business, they're perfectly entitled to do this, but I do think people should be aware and should be able to understand how to avoid getting into serious problems, and in this case, having reduced sleep, having poorer sleep. Of course, there's a difference between duration of sleep and quality of sleep, so both are important. I think probably quality of sleep is probably the most important thing. Lets your body regenerate. There's many reasons why we need sleep. Without sleep, we cannot really function properly. What I also see, for example, in my workplace, there's a culture of drinking energy drinks in order to get work completed. And again, people will say, "Oh, instead of sleeping, I'll just take this energy drink, and this will give me energy to complete the work, and therefore, I haven't lost or gained anything by doing this." And I believe this is quite damaging. I find energy drinks are quite a harmful way to gain energy. If you do a little bit of research, you will see the problems with energy drinks, and they really want to be getting all your energy from long, slow releasing forms of energy. So that's normal, natural food. Again, another reason why you don't want to be taking energy drinks is because it destroys the microbiome in your intestines, in your gut, and does a lot of damage in many different ways, but also makes you let's say dependent on the energy drink to a large degree, and it becomes very normal very quickly. So you want to be cutting that out. Now, since people are using energy drinks as a substitute for good sleep and good food, I do think the more you down that path you go, the more of a problem it becomes, and then you need more and more energy drinks, you need more and more sugary foods to keep you going, and you need caffeine, and it just builds up and builds up, and the more you take it, the more of it you need. It's a bit like a paradoxical self-fulfilling cycle. I do believe the body builds up kind of let's say not a tolerance, but certainly kind of gets used to taking in caffeine. So if I, as a person who never really drinks caffeine or an energy drink, were to consume 1 unit, I would probably get quite a relatively strong impact from that unit. But if I've been taking that for many, many years, I might need 3 of the same unit to get the same kick, the same effect. And therefore you can see how very damaging that could be over a long period of time. Energy drinks and soft drinks and caffeine related products can have their uses, especially coffee. There's some research on that coffee can be healthy to an extent. I personally don't drink coffee, mostly because I don't like the taste. I think it smells amazing, but the taste itself isn't for me. But I do also see that people could get addicted to the caffeine element, and therefore I am completely sure how a good idea it is to use caffeine to supplement your energy to make sure you're sharp all the time. Instead, I would recommend working on your sleep, maybe even taking a nap during the day if you have 10 minutes. Power naps are meant to really be quite useful. Personally, I don't ever sleep during the day, but I might take 10 minutes where I just rest and stop and don't do anything. Some people, if they take a power nap, they can't sleep that well in the evening. So that might be the case for me, but I definitely know that a lot of people do take power naps, and if you do take 10-minute break, it does wonders for your energy levels. What I will also say on the power nap thing is that it can really be a useful tool, but what's also really useful equally to a power nap is just stopping and just breathing, concentrating on your breathing, taking a moment to relax, to just really stop and don't do anything. I once read a very interesting paper on, it was more of an article actually, on the way we don't really stop anymore in our society. Everything is constantly going. Either you're at work or you're at university or you're commuting, and then even while you're commuting and you sit down, you have a chance to take a break, you're straight away onto your phone, reading articles, communicating, and then when you're at home, Again, maybe you're cooking, and then once you're cooking, you're eating, and while you're eating, you're even then watching a video, you're even then scrolling, texting. So your brain never really gets a chance to take a break. Um, there is a very interesting YouTube channel. I think it's called Satguru. Basically, Satguru is, I think he's Indian. He's kind of an Indian. I'm not exactly sure what he is. He's kind of a guru. I don't know that much about him. But I saw a short video by him where he was saying that he needs very little sleep because he's always in a very rested state. He's able to rest his body even when he's just awake or he's sitting. He's able to be very calm inside, and he's able to rest a lot of the time. Now, I don't know how factual that is, but the idea is quite nice, is that you're not always scrolling, you're not always texting, you're relaxing, you're able to control your thoughts, you're not thinking in wild directions that are, keeping you literally awake at night. You're able to rest during the day, you're able to sleep better at night by having these things understood and in place. And I do think that this kind of calmness and this kind of ability to rest and to really enjoy your existence on this earth really does mean that you'll go a lot further in terms of personal energy reserves. So yeah, with those topics in mind, I think what would I suggest for people who have poor sleep and want to fix it? Well, it's a bit like all the other things on this channel. It always comes back to health, fitness, and mindset. Health is, in a sense, make sure your diet is correct. If you're eating well, then your body's more regulated, your hormones are more balanced, and then you're going to be able to sleep better as a result of that. Then fitness, I think if you're, doing some sort of fitness, because it's very important to be doing some kind of fitness regime, especially resistance training. If you're doing a bit of that, well, you're going to be more tired in the evening, and you will definitely sleep in a more relaxed, you'll be more relaxed, you'll be more tired, you'll be ready to sleep a lot quicker. And then mindset, well, I would just cut out the phone devices. Preferably, you don't have to look at it in the last hour before you sleep. What I do is I listen to news podcasts, and I have a timer on my phone, which will turn the phone off automatically after an hour of listening. I think that works pretty well. Another trick is to avoid bright lights in the evening. This is a cool concept, actually. I hadn't thought about this. The idea that 1,000 years ago, we didn't have natural light like I have in this room right now. We didn't have artificial light to supplement or to substitute the natural light during the day. So when the sun went down, and your brain was then adjusting to that, saying, okay, it's dark, it's kind of time to go to sleep. But now we have a lot of artificial light, so we're never really in the dark, literally. And therefore, we are not perhaps adhering to the patterns that our brains were used to for millennia. Now, I know we had candles in the past, but candles definitely don't provide the same intensity of light as artificial bulbs. So my point here is that it's possible that the brain hasn't completely adapted to this, and for some people who find that they have a particular problem going to sleep, it would be of benefit to maybe avoid bright lights in the hours coming up to sleep, or during the night when when you get up, to avoid bright lights for too long. So what some people do is they buy, and I don't necessarily recommend this, but it's just something I heard. You can buy red lights, which don't seem to affect the brain's problem. So red light is a bit like the light you see at a sunset, so it's a lot softer, and probably that's why the brain doesn't mind it as much and doesn't get as stimulated by it. So yeah, you can definitely try and avoid bright lights in the evening, and that might help you as well getting to sleep. Also having the blue light filter on your phone, and then getting up early and exposing yourself to sunlight as early as possible to set your circadian rhythm and your body clock and to align it with that. So yeah, that's the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you found it interesting, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching, guys.